My name is Benjamin Arnaud, aka Bungie, and this is MotionBox 1.2.0. It's been a long time since the last time I communicated about MotionBox, and I'm glad to be back. Today, I would like to show you a few things related to the latest version of the software, which is the version 1.2.0. We're going to start right away. MotionBox is a video browser. What I mean by video browser and what I've designed is pretty much a tool, software, that accesses and traverses video files directly. That's pretty much what it's all about, traversing them, and then sharing them, but we'll cover that a little bit later. So if we go full screen right there, you might notice that on the upper left corner there's the what do you want to watch box, and so we're going to zoom on that. So this is the entry point, the video browsing entry point. It's the place where the video browser is going to translate a query into tracks. That's pretty much where this happens. You start with a query with something you're interested about, and MotionBox is going to access it. Is going to access the video network through backends. You can see them here: YouTube, Dailymotion, Vimeo, and a fourth one there, SoundCloud, which is a new one. And it's pretty much going to display result according to what you've typed. So let's type something and let's click on browse and see what happens. So here we have a bunch of results. We've been doing a search through DuckDuckGo, as you might have noticed the icon there. DuckDuckGo is currently the default search engine attached to MotionBox. That means that it's going to access and it's going to display results through that search engine currently. The video network represents the complete network of all videos on the internet. Now, currently, MotionBox mostly goes, actually, only goes through web results in order to access content. But maybe at one point, it will access content through other medium than just the web. And that's the interesting part here, but we'll cover that later. Currently, we have a bunch of results, as you can see there. This is the main result right there. These are the main results, so the main pages that comes up first. And then these are the results attached to the first one. That result there has a few results, and MotionBox translates the result, which currently here is a website, into a few tracks. And so we can, browse these tracks and see what they're all about. You might notice that the second result there is youtube.com, and actually MotionBox realized that it's a supported backend, so it put the icon right there. And if I click there, we're still seeing results through DuckDuckGo because these are the results, the site results of DuckDuckGo. But what's involved there is mostly the YouTube backend in order to translate, tracks URL into valid tracks, video tracks that we can browse and access. If I click on YouTube there, it's the equivalent to actually clicking there. I'm going to switch to the hub, and now we're going to see the results of the hub. So I'm accessing tracks results on the YouTube backend right away. And we can actually play it because that's what MotionBox is all about. Now, this is at this point that video browsing starts. First of all, I could open a new tab there and start browsing more tracks while the first one is playing there. I can go back to playback at any time by clicking there or clicking there. I'm switching from the split view to the player view. Now, I could also look at related tracks here, for instance, and find related tracks that I would be interested in while playback is active. So I could click, for instance, there and open a new tab and, browse related tracks there directly from while playing the first one. So let's go back to the default mode there. There's the first thing that I would like to cover in MotionBox 1.2.0 is the fact that MotionBox now has complete audio support. That means that if you drag and drop audio file inside MotionBox, you're actually going to be able to play them. So you're going to be able to play audio files while you're browsing more video or audio files inside MotionBox. But complete audio support means other things that I would like to cover now. If I click there, you can see the settings panel. So I'm going to zoom on that. If you used MotionBox previously, you might already know that it has a playback section. The setting panel has a playback section that you can use during playback to shuffle the tracks or to repeat them. You have a quality section there to select the quality that you want to use. And then different backends are going to translate to appropriate video resources. And you have two new section there. The first one is the output section, you can see there, and the second one is the speed section. Now, as you can notice, you can choose between audio and video. What that means is that you're going to be able to switch between one of these during playback, and I'm going to show you that right now. So if I go back to the global view there, and if I click on audio, you can notice that MotionBox has switched to another view there. What happened in the background is that MotionBox decided to play the audio only the audio. So MotionBox is currently only playing audio, and it's displaying the track cover instead of video frames. What happens there, what it means is that it's going to save bandwidth because we're not going to access video frames, obviously, and it also saves CPU because we're not going to decode them. So that can be useful if you're using MotionBox in an audio context. That could be useful if you're using it this way. Now, if I'm switching to another track there and if I'm playing it, I'm still in audio mode. And as you can see, it doesn't defeat the video browsing functionality because since we can still see the track cover, we still have a static image, we can still actually browse video tracks just like they were, as if they were static frame videos, and that's pretty useful. So here I can go back there and I can switch back to video, for instance, and as you can see on the fly during playback, switching from one to the other, just like that, going back to the audio mode. Now, another thing that I would like to show you, and that's the second thing, and that's related to complete audio support, is I've added a new backend to demonstrate that, and that's the SoundCloud backend. So if I zoom here, you might notice that there are 4 backends beside the video network section there, beside the video network item. The first one is YouTube, the second is Dailymotion, the third is Vimeo, and the fourth is SoundCloud. SoundCloud, if for those of you who don't know SoundCloud, is actually an audio platform. So it's not specialized in video, but audio instead. So here I can click on it there and zoom out. And as you can see, there we have a few results, a few SoundCloud results, and you get the same presentation as you'd get on a video backend. That's pretty much because SoundCloud specifies an audio cover, a track cover for every single one of them. So if I click on one there, I can browse them just like I would browse videos. And when I find something interesting, I can click on it, and there it goes. As you can see there, the audio mode is currently enabled because obviously there's no video. So MotionBox switches, between audio and video depending on the source it's playing. If it's a video, it's going to switch to video since I've selected video. If it's audio only, it's going to stick to audio, obviously. Now, if I go back to the first track there, obviously it switches back to video because it's a video track. And if I go back there, it switches back to audio. Pretty logical, right? So yeah, that's the second thing I wanted to show you. Now, obviously, you can access people and playlists just like you would access on other backends. So if I click on plays there, you can see that there's actually a few of them, and you can still add them in your library if you want to. So that's the second thing I wanted to show you. Now, the third thing I wanted to show you is that second section right there, the speed section here. And to demonstrate that, I'm going to access local file on my hard drive. So let me do that. I'm going to do that actually by drag and dropping a folder. You can actually do it. And it's going to parse the content of that folder. So let's play a track here. we have one. We can actually go to the next one, for instance, here, and advance a little bit in the video. And so in order to demonstrate speed playback, I'm first going to accelerate speed. So now it's playing 2x, so it's obviously faster. That can be useful if you're listening to a conference, for instance, and the speaker is speaking a little bit slow and you want to accelerate things up. It might be useful. It also might be useful, for instance, if I go slower there, it might be useful if you're watching a very nervous video, 60 frames per second video, for instance, and you want to slow down the action to understand what really happens there. So yeah, I think it's a pretty useful addition. So that's the third thing I wanted to show you. Now, the fourth thing is going to be related to Windows specifically. There's been a request of adding native window to MotionBox because it was previously not supporting it. So if I go back to the minimized mode here, let's play another one, for instance, and let's go back to normal playback because it's a little bit too frenetic there. So MotionBox is now a native window on the Windows platform. That means that it's a proper citizen on your desktop. It wasn't previously because it was a Qt frameless window. I'm using the Qt framework. And so it wasn't supporting a few functionality that you might expect on a traditional Windows. So let me show you that. It supports snapping. That means that you can maximize windows like that. And you can also use shortcuts like that. So yeah, it's pretty nice if you want to reorganize the window faster. What's also cool about that is that it supports mini mode. That means that your mini mode is working as a native Windows and you can still have it on top of other things you're doing. So MotionBox lets you play videos or listen to audio because it has audio support now, obviously, while you're doing something else. And I think that's pretty useful. Here, for instance, I could switch to audio mode and minimize it, and there I have a complete audio minified, because that's the mini mode, audio player. So that's pretty convenient if you ask me. Let's go back to the first video we were actually playing there, and let's go back to video there. And as you can see, we can still go back to the previous state we were on. So that's the fourth thing I wanted to show you, native window. Now, there is another thing, there is still one thing remaining to show. But before doing so, or actually while doing so, I would like to say a few things, say a few thanks and to a few people. So let me actually prepare the fifth thing I would like to show you, and it's going to require me to run something in here. So let me do it. It's actually a virtual box, as you may have noticed. So I would like to say a big thank to the Handman Network, because they've actually hosted MotionBox as one of the project on the platform, and I have to say that the Handman Network community is quite fantastic. Honestly, people are really passionate about technology. They really want to learn what happens under the hood, and they really care about performance. And I really believe that they don't necessarily believe in performance just for the sake of being fast, but I think they understand that there is value understanding what really happens at the hardware level. And with performance comes efficiency, and with efficiency comes new possibilities. And so I think that there's something deep about wanting to connect back to the hardware and building some low-level stuff. Not to mention that the C and C++ language that are mostly related to that task are excellent language to learn programmation, if you ask me, to learn code, if you ask me, because before avoiding reinventing the wheel and using abstraction, you should know how to invent the wheel in the first place. You should be able to actually code a few wheels you're using before choosing whether you want to do it or not. And I think that's what's so important about learning to code on low-level languages like C or C++, is because it gives you the occasion to understand how the library that you're using every day actually works and when it's necessary to reinvent stuff. So without going too much into detail there, I would like really to say a big thanks to the Handman Network community. I'm thinking mostly I would like to thank Abner Kwambre. I would like to thank Jehoren Van Ryn, if I'm not mistaken his name. And I would like to thank Miyotatsu that helped on the fifth thing that I'm actually going to show you. And so let's go. So this is a VirtualBox, an Ubuntu VirtualBox, and I'm going to launch a browser, actually. Oh, looks like it's checking for a few things. And I'm going to go to the Omega website. The Omega website is the MotionBox official website. And let's see how it goes. And I'm going to click there. And so I'm going to click on Get MotionBox because that's what you should do if you want to try it, actually. And here, as you can see, MotionBox supports a few things. Windows, there's a setup and a zip, archive, and Linux, because today I'm very pleased to announce that MotionBox officially supports Linux, and we're going to get it right now, download it, and we're going to run it. So let's open the containing folder there, and let's actually make sure that we're downloading the latest version there. So yeah, let's open the download folder. If I remember how to do it, that should be like this. And let's extract that. Okay. Thank you. So, as of today, MotionBox now supports Linux. That means that everything that I just showed you now also works on the Linux platform. You have full audio support, just like I demonstrated. You have everything that MotionBox was supporting previously. All of this except native window, because currently this is using the frameless window, but we can just go back to YouTube there and play a video, and it should work as expected. I'm very happy about that Linux port because Linux is obviously a platform that I really, I'm really happy about supporting that platform, mostly because it's the main free software platform, and I'm all about free software, including with this project MotionBox. And so I'm really happy for it to run on MotionBox on Linux, but I would like to mention that due to the fact that it now runs on both Linux and Windows, the things I had to fix in order for it to work on Linux obviously also made the Windows version better. And that's what's so great when you're supporting multiple platforms. What's so great about that is that you end up improving the quality of the version overall by supporting many versions of it, by supporting many platforms. So yeah, MotionBox is now working fully on Linux. So as you can see here, I could switch to audio, I could accelerate playback, and yeah, it would just work as expected. And so that's good news for Linux user out there. If you're on Linux, make sure you try it. It was built on Ubuntu, and it requires VLC to be installed in order to work. But aside from that, it should work fine. Don't hesitate to let me know. And yeah, that's about it. So before wrapping this up, let me minimize this and let me actually go back to audio cover. Otherwise, you're going to watch video instead of listening to me. And so I would like to say a big thanks once again to the Handman Network people. Thank you guys. Also, I would like to say that MotionBox has been a very long road for me. It's a very personal project, and there is many more things I would like to cover in the coming weeks. Hopefully I can post videos more frequently from now on, And I would like also to say to all of you who have personal projects, whether it's for learning or whether it's that big thing you want to achieve, just go for it. If you need to learn something, you can do it. If you need to learn C++, there's everything you need online. You can learn it pretty fast, and there's always a good reason to get rid of abstraction, to be really aware of what happens when you're writing code. And that's always useful, because down the road you're going to use what you've learned in order to avoid reinventing the wheel, just to focus on what you can do best and just to deliver better software overall. And the world needs better software, both on the technical side and the ethical side of things. So thank you guys, and have a great day. Take really good care of you, and I'll see you next time.